Good morning, everyone. Welcome to LisaBug Gentle Yoga today, as I am 23 days out, 24 days out, total hip replacement on the right side. So we're going to do a gentle class, maybe about 45 minutes. We'll be seated and laying on our back for the majority of the class. So get yourself nice and comfortable. Also, a yoga strap. We're going to utilize that for a lot of chest openers, shoulder stretches, neck releases, upper back releases, as well as hamstrings. So have your yoga strap close by, and let's come down and get comfortable. So now you can see how I get down on the floor. I have to think about it for a minute. I have to get down onto my left hip first, and then I can come down to a seated position. Oh, not too bad, right? Okay, so I want you to sit in a comfortable position for you. I don't feel comfortable yet going crisscross applesauce too much. I can kind of get there. So I'm going to do legs extended out in front of me for a while with knees bent a bit, but I want you to get nice and comfortable wherever you can sit up really tall. And we'll take a nice big inhale and exhale, and just let these breaths just really enter deeply into your lungs as we celebrate this opportunity to join together virtually but live, which is so precious to us in the LisaBug community. And we miss it when we don't have that option. So let's just pull in all the joy that we have today, that we're able to be together. And exhale. And this movement, if it doesn't feel okay for your shoulders, you know what to do to modify. And release it down. Okay, press those shoulders down away from your ears, and let's just tip the head from side to side. I failed to mention you can certainly sit in a chair too for this piece of the class, and I considered doing that, but I thought, well, let's just come down on the floor and see how we do. And I'm sitting up on a blanket, and that helps to lift the hips, which is nice as well. So how is the neck feeling? Any tension? Any pain, any stress, any difference from one side to the other? And then let's just hold it over to the right side. And then with this right hand, we can do a couple of things. We can bring it across to the opposite shoulder and just kind of press down a little bit. We can take the right hand gently to the outside of the ear and weight it very lightly to give yourself a little more stretch. Or we can take that right hand and you can give yourself a little bit of a neck massage. Oh, that is what I am needing today. Those muscles feel really tight, like a little bit of piano wire there. You know, I've really found from going through these joint replacements that the rest of the body's affected in certain ways. And you know, I tend to carry some tension up into the upper back and neck, which most of us do. So I find that that sometimes gets a little worse when I'm going through recovery and healing. All right, let's release that side, come back to center. Before we switch, I just want you to notice, wow, I feel a big difference. I feel like my head is still like this. I feel like that left side of the neck is really released. Let's go over to the other side. This feels tighter, so we can take the opposite hand and we can give a little pressure down. We can gently guide the head a little deeper this way, or we can do the neck massage. It's always interesting, really, to evaluate. So this one feels harder to tip my head to the side, but these muscles are not feeling tight. So go figure. Sometimes life and our bodies are just a little bit of a mystery. And it's okay not to know all the answers, right? And as a teacher, I want to know all the answers, but sometimes we just have to let it go and say, that's the way it is today. That's the way our body is today. Good. Couple more breaths here. evening out the sides of the neck. And then we'll come back to neutral and oh, I feel pretty balanced now. That feels really great. So let's go ahead and turn the head from side to side. And when you turn your head, I also want you to turn your eyes as far as you can. So maybe your chin is just going here, but your eyes are going back a little further. Sometimes we forget about actually training our eyes to move in certain directions. And if we have lack of range of motion in our neck, we can maybe compensate for that by being able to look with our eyes. Let's do one more to each side. And then back to center, we'll take the arms out just at a nice comfortable angle and start to turn the whole spine right and left. So I have to tell you kind of a funny story. I actually went in and taught in the virtual Y. When did I go? It was on Tuesday, so 2 days ago. They needed a sub, and it was a 30-minute core class. And I thought, well, I can do this. I'll just get down on the floor and I'll stay there the whole time and just do a bunch of abs. And it was good. You know, I went into the virtual, I set up the recording, got down on the floor. They have this little iPad, so you can get on the floor first before you're on camera. And then you can push a little button on the iPad so nobody can see you getting down with a crutch. So I taught that whole class, turned the button to shut the class off, and the next morning I woke up with the worst abdominal soreness I have had in months. So it was a good class. Those of you who are virtual Y members might want to get on and give it a try. Okay, let's hold it over to the right side now. And then I'm just going to place my hand across. If you're sitting in cross-leg pose, you can grab that knee and let's just hold our rotation and really sit up super tall through this. So important, as we know, not to slouch when we're trying to twist because then the vertebrae are really compressed. So we want to lengthen up as much as possible and take a couple really deep breaths through the rib cage, the abdomen, the side ribs, the back of the ribs. And then we'll come back to the center just to pause for a moment. Are you feeling anything in your lower back, mid back, upper back that doesn't feel right? So make sure you make these twists gentle for you. Let's go to the other side. And I'm using the opposite hand behind me and I'm kind of pushing it down into the floor back there. And as I push it down to the floor, that helps me lift the spine up. And then really look over that shoulder, noticing how this side might compare to the opposite side. And then begin to breathe deep into those ribs. And as I'm holding these, always know that you can make the duration of the hold shorter. Make this your practice and really listen to the body. As that is my mantra these last couple of weeks. All right, let's come back to the midline. And then we'll just do some nice gentle side stretches just to flow from side to side. And notice when you go to the side, are you rocking on your pelvis? And that's not a bad thing. It's not necessarily wrong, but if we keep our pelvis from moving, then we pay more attention to the stretch through the rib cage and through the spine and not just leaning to the side just so that we can go a little farther. Ah, that feels great through the lats. And you can go a little slower if that feels better for you. Nice work. Let's take one over to the right and let's hold it here. And what we're going to do is reach across and then reach back up. And when we come up, we'll inhale. And as we reach across, we'll exhale. Let's do that 3 more times. Inhale, exhale. 2 more. And last one. And reach across, hold, and just pause here for a moment. Really stretch that arm out as if someone were pulling you by the wrist just a little bit. And then open out and come back up. Excellent. Let's move it over to the other side, side stretch. We'll breathe in here and breathe out and rotate. 3 more. You can even draw back a little bit more as you inhale and lift the arm. You can send that right shoulder blade toward the wall behind you a bit. Nice. And then holding that last one, breathe, really reach. Keep pushing down into the right hip. Just let all tension go from your mid and upper back. And then open out and come back up. Good. Our goalpost or W arms will inhale and pull the arms back and wide. Exhale and bring the elbows together. We can drop the chin a little bit and maybe even round the back. So we open, breathe in, and we close. Beautiful. 3 more. It's interesting how much my core has to work sitting like this. It's good for my hip, but my abs are really talking. 1 more. And let's open out and hold. Really keep pulling those shoulder blades back. Feel this nice stretch right through the chest. And then release down. Take the arms in front of you. You're going to make a big circle up, around, and behind your body, and then reverse it and come the other direction. Circle and come forward. So I'm going to give you the option to do this without your yoga strap, or you can add your yoga strap in. But I want you to be real careful and make sure that your strap is long enough. So I have mine hooked in the D-ring, but you can have it long, and then see if you can go all the way around. Whoop, I'm not going to be able to do that today with this yoga strap. And it's kind of stuck in the D-ring. So I'm just going to go as far as I can, or go back without the strap. So if this is bothering the shoulders, you know what you can do? A shoulder roll back and a shoulder roll forward, because essentially it's the same thing. We just don't have our arms up, right? Or we can bend our elbows a little bit and do an elbow roll forward and an elbow roll back. Oh, that one feels nice. I'm going to do a little experiment with my yoga strap because I haven't done this before. I'm going to do it. Elbow roll back. I wonder if I can do it back this way. And an elbow roll forward. Ooh, I like this one. Okay, here's a nice option. Yeah. Let's just do 2 more. Good, and 1 more. and to the front. Okay, go ahead and take that yoga strap into your right hand, and we'll reach it up to the ceiling and then bend your elbow so that the strap is behind your body. Then we can take this other hand and just give yourself a little bit of extra stretch by pushing that arm into where it's in a comfortable position. Now, if you're pretty tight here, yours might look like this with your elbow forward, and that's okay. I want you to find the stretch that feels good for you. And then this other hand is going to turn and reach back and find that strap. Okay, this is a big stretch for the left shoulder. So your arm can be as low in the back behind you as you need it. And then you just start inching your fingers along the strap any amount until you find a good stretch. So it might be the tricep of your right arm that's dictating the stretch, or it might be the shoulder of the left arm. And since I'm reversed, facing you guys and cueing opposites, this is my right shoulder that's rotating the arm behind me, and that one's really tight. This is usually the case if you're right hand dominant, that you're going to feel that in that shoulder. Now, if you'd like to take a little side bend, we'll go over and then just come back up. So we're just going to the left, and this is going to increase the stretch along the right side body and come up. Those sore abs are really talking to me right now. Oh, I guess that class was really efficient. Let's do 2 more. Either that or I've really gotten in bad shape in these few weeks since the hip replacement. I think it's a little bit of both. I think it was a good class and I think I'm out of shape. Okay, let's be very careful to bring the bottom arm down and around. Try not to strain it. And then the top arm. And just relax, hands on your knees for a moment. What do you feel? I felt like that was really hard. I'm looking forward to doing the other side because it's going to be a little easier for me. Okay, so let's take that strap in the left hand, hold it up. And if you don't have a strap, you can use a scarf, a necktie, a belt, a kitchen towel. Really, there's so many items that you can utilize. You don't have to go out and get a yoga strap if you don't have one. All right, so now that's in place, we'll take the other hand behind. And oh yes, this one's much easier. Let's walk the fingertips together. Some of you might be able to actually bind your fingers behind your back. I've never been able to do that, even in my younger days. So I don't imagine I ever will be. That's fine. The strap is a wonderful option here. I'm really feeling my tricep on this upper arm really stretching. Let's take it over and back up and over. Good. And 2 more. Excellent. These stretches help us so much with posture. It's that back scratch test that we did about a year or so ago. Okay, release that bottom arm very slowly. And the top arm. And then I'm just going to grab under my legs and give my lower back a little stretch. You can do that if you're sitting cross-legged as well, just kind of fold over. Or if there's any other little stretches you need to do. We've been kind of sitting in this position for a while, so it's good to just kind of move the body. And then we'll come back up. Let's lengthen the left leg forward and bring the right knee to bend any amount. And then I want you to pull the toes back of this left leg so you're firing your shin muscles. Sit up really tall and we'll hold another twist to the right. So reach the right hand behind you. And another option with this one, this bent knee can actually fold across. I'm going to do that on this side because that hip can do it. I know on the other side it's not going to, but I'll try that here. So keep that extended leg nice and active. And just 2 more breaths. Good, and come back to center. Now we're going to stretch the extended leg hamstring. So a couple of ways we can do it. For me, I'm going to open this knee out a little bit and stretch forward here. You can also keep the knee straight up. So let that hip open and release. And then we can take our yoga strap, extend it over the ball of the foot, and sit tall. And this is my hip replacement side right here. I don't have any restrictions on folding forward with the approach that I had, but right now this is feeling like if I went forward a little more, it would be uncomfortable. So for you, if you are flexible enough to fold forward with this, I want you to go to your range of motion here, and I'm just going to stay upright. I'm still feeling a great stretch. So that's the beauty of really, coming to your mat every time you practice yoga and having, to some degree, no expectations or demands on yourself. Just coming to this place and saying, okay, how am I today? What can I do today? And really being happy with that and embracing it in your entire well being. Okay, let's release that side. Now we extend the right leg long. The left knee will bend. That feels pretty good on the hip replacement side. Pull the toes back on the extended leg, activate your thighs, sit tall, and then we'll turn to the left. And again, you can take this foot and go across the opposite leg. I'm going to keep it right where it is. I think that'll feel better for me today. And come back to a really generous breath. One more, lengthening the spine. Inhale, exhale, and then come back to the center. Okay, this is going to be a little bit of a test to see what this knee can do. I think I can go right about to there. So let that knee open if you want, or keep it straight up. Let's take our strap, extend it out, and sit tall. Now, when we fold, we want to fold with a straight back. So we're coming from the hip crease and hinging. So not necessarily hunching our back and trying to put our nose down. So really keep it lengthened and hold that stretch and breathe. So depending on how much this knee is open, you might feel some inner thigh here or hip on the left side. We're going for hamstring and calf lengthening on the right. And a little bit into that lower back, or maybe a lot, depending on if you're tight in that area. Good, couple more breaths here. And then let's release that strap. Okay, take a moment and come down onto your back. And just rolling down, find a nice neutral spine. If you need something for the back of your head for a little pillow, have that ready. And just knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Take a couple of breaths and just settle into your mat. And we'll inhale the arms above the head, any amount that feels okay for your shoulders. Exhale, and you'll do a little bit of a sit up. Just pull your head and shoulders up off the floor, reaching towards your kneecaps. And then inhale back. Exhale, reach up. Next option, we inhale back. We'll pull the right knee in towards us as we exhale and come up. Inhale, reach, the left leg comes in. So this is a wonderful release for the lower back. So as we pull that knee in toward the chest, we push the low back down into the floor. And again. If the neck gets tired, you don't have to curl the head and shoulders up. You can just pull the knee in towards your chest and keep the head relaxed. And let's do one more of these on each side. And finish with a reach above the head stretch. And then just bring the arms by your side. We'll separate our feet a little bit wider and our knees as wide as our feet as we come into windshield wiper legs. So the elbows can be braced on the floor, and we'll rock the knees over to the right. And then we'll rock the knees over to the left. So this is interesting after hip replacement, because when I go to the right, I'm going on to my scar, which doesn't feel too tender right now. That feels okay. And then when I go to the left, all of these muscles that were affected by the surgery are extremely tight. So just notice what you feel, and you're letting this hip lift up off the floor, but you're not letting your shoulders lift up off the floor. It's a gentle twist, so a wonderful lower back release. So I'm going to give you the option to continue to do this with your feet on the floor, or if you'd like to really work your core, we can bring the knees up to tabletop, and we can drop those knees any amount over to the right and any amount over to the left. So now we're not getting as much of the stretching and the flexibility, but we're focusing on strengthening the obliques, the abdominals. Both are great. Let's go one more each side of your choice. And then back to the center. So if your feet are on the mat, go ahead and bring them up to tabletop, and then we'll extend our legs up like we're doing legs up the wall. And you can hold behind your legs here a little bit. You can also use your yoga strap to help kind of assist that. So if your hamstrings are pretty tight and your legs are a little low, this is really nice to grab your strap. Just put it behind your thighs, not behind your knees, but behind your thighs, and you can hold here. And I'm not putting it under my feet right now because I want you to be able to point and flex and activate the muscle pump. And what we're doing is pointing and flexing to squeeze the blood and other fluids. So during not so much my hip replacement, but with my knee replacement, I had a lot of swelling in the ankles, in the lower legs. So legs up the wall is so good. Any elevation to let that fluid return back to the heart and circulate. If we haven't had a procedure, but we're on our feet a lot, we can still get some swelling. And that can contribute to problems with varicose veins and spider veins, things like that. And so it's good to elevate the legs, even if we're not having issues with swelling. Let's just do about 5 more ankle pumps. And then relax. Now, if you want to do the strap under the bottom of the feet, you can. Or if it feels comfortable for you to hold those legs up on your own, we'll just stay here for a few breaths and just let the fluid flow back toward the heart. And this, we've talked about this before too, but this is great for your immune system because you have a series of lymph nodes and your whole lymphatic system. If we elevate the legs, that lymph fluid is going to also return back toward the heart to circulate. So let's stay here maybe about 5 more breaths. And if you're watching later on YouTube, you can always pause it and stay here longer as well. Okay, let's bring the right foot back down to the mat. Take your left knee, bend it, and set your ankle across the thigh. So this is not my hip replacement side, but this is the side that's going to be done here pretty soon. So this feels a little uncomfortable for me with range of motion. So I'm just going to stay right here. But those of you that want a deeper stretch, you can pull those knees any amount up to your chest. This is your figure 4 stretch, reclined pigeon. You can also reach for that lower leg and just pull the leg in toward you. That works nicely as well. That's an option called cradle the baby. And let's hold here about another 5 breaths and a nice hip release. Just check in. How's your physical body? How's your emotional self? Your mental self? All right, let's relax and switch. So this is my knee replacement side. So I'm just going to lift this leg up and slightly rotate my knee out. This is about all I can do. I can maybe, I can set my heel right on top of the knee. It's baby steps, right? It's little small progressions. And finding that balance between progressing but not overdoing it, which, it's a difficult road. If you're pulling your knees up to your chest, go for that. Give yourself a nice stretch here. And a lot of what I learned through recovering from these joint replacements is that healing is not linear. You don't make the same advances every day and keep moving forward on this straight line. But Nancy Weber reminded me, thank you, Nancy, that it's important to look at where you started. Because even though the road goes up and down and is bumpy, it's going up and down, but it's still going up, right? It's not an even line, but if we compare where we began to where we are now, it's a better way to look at it. One of my Pilates reformer members yesterday said, well, that's why we don't look at the stock market every day. And I thought, well, that's a great analogy. If we don't want to look at the stock market every day because it's up, down, up, down, up, down, but we look at it over time and see where that's going. And that's the same with recovering from injuries and, really other battles that we're facing in our life. Okay, let's lower that down. We'll bring both feet down to the floor and then open both knees out into Baddha Konasana. Oh, that's actually working pretty good for me. I am pleasantly surprised here. So both knees open and arms can be by your side or maybe a nice goalpost arm, or hands can be on your abdomen and just focus on your breathing. And just relax the inner thighs, let the hips relax. And let's try an Ujjayi breath. So if you haven't done that before, it's known as the ocean breath or the whisper breath, and we make a little sound in the back of our throat when we're exhaling, but we do it with our mouth closed. So you'll inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose, but you make a constriction in the back of your throat, which makes a sound, and that reverberates. You can hear the vibrations of that in your head, in your throat, and it's a very calming and relaxing breath pattern. So if you're not sure how to do it, it's akin to fogging up your glasses. So you would try just to go, but then do that without having your mouth open. Let's do about 5 of those Ujjayi breaths. And when we constrict the throat, it allows us to extend that exhale longer. Just a couple more of these breaths. And then we'll do a reclining tree pose or reclined tree. So we'll take one of our legs and extend it out to straight. And this is my hip replacement side, so my hip is really tight. So my leg is not going to be completely straight on the floor. You can see that, but if you can get yours all the way to straight, that's great. And just let the other knee open out. So this is like tree, but we're laying on our back. So we have one hip opening with the inner thigh stretching. The other hip is opening right here in the front of the hip. If you'd like to do arms like branches of the tree, we can open the arms out and reach above the head and just really stretch. Two more of the Ujjayi breaths. And then release the arms in. And we'll switch the position of the legs so that right leg is going to come back up in. The left leg will extend long. And we'll allow our right knee to open out any amount. And I'm going to go real small here. See what I can do. And then arms can go up nice and long as we stretch. And that left leg that's straight, you can actually flex your ankle like you're standing on your foot. And then in your mind's eye, you can visualize yourself doing this standing up, a really strong, solid tree pose. One more Ujjayi breath. And then bringing that knee in, we'll come back to both knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Arms by your side. And we'll try a bridge pose. So I'm going to do a very small baby bridge, just barely lifting my hips up off the floor, but you can lift them up, up, up as high as you would like, engaging the glutes, opening up the fronts of the hips, the hip flexors. Try to press evenly into both feet. And one more breath in our bridge. And then let the hips sink back to the earth. We'll hug both knees up to the chest. Keep your feet together and we'll do a little egg beater circle. So what I'm going to do is keep my hands on my knees, separate the knees, push forward, close the knees and come in. So my feet are staying together. And this is a really nice gentle mobilization of the hip joint. And you'll feel it in your core as well as you press the legs away from you. Keep your abdominals really engaged. Let's do one more egg beater this way. And then the knees come in, we pause, press your low back down, and then reversing the egg beater, keep your feet together, push your feet or your knees away, separate your knees, come around the circle and back in toward you. This actually feels very nice for me on both hips. So I'm feeling this is a really nice therapeutic movement after hip replacement, or even before hip replacement, or any kind of hip pain or tightness. Let's do one more egg beater circle this way. Hug those knees in, and let's just rock a little bit from side to side, right on the lower back. Just a little bit of a lumbar massage. And then I want you to think about how you'd like to come back to sitting, because I'm thinking about it. How am I going to come back to sitting? I'm not going to roll over on this side because I have a big incision right there. So I'm going to roll over onto my left side and press up. And then we'll just come right where we started class today, back to a comfortable seat for you. And just close your eyes for a moment. I just want you to check in and notice. Do a little scan from head to toe. How has your practice changed your body, your mind, your heart, your emotions, your awareness in the last 45 minutes? And we'll finish with those breaths that we started with. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale down. Do you feel the breath has changed? The first couple breaths we took together, it was so shallow for me. It was high up into my lungs. It was not getting down into my belly, but now I feel like I've really made a pathway for the breath to sink deeper into those lower lobes of the lungs. We'll take one more breath in. This time allowing the palms to come together at the heart. We'll bring the thumbs into the heart center to our Anjali Mudra. This is our symbol of honor and gratitude, and I am so grateful for this opportunity to teach live this morning and just to practice together with the LisaBug community. Each and every one of you are so important to me. And the light and the joy that resides within my heart honors the light and the joy in the hearts of each and every one of you. Namaste. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. If you cannot stay to chit chat, please reach out and let me know how you are, how you've been doing, how class was today. Otherwise, I'm going to come up over there and get our recording shut off, and we will chit chat live today. Okay, I know it's not pretty, but I can do it. Good, 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 good. Okay, recording is